Well, joining me now is Bahi van der Boer, who's a paediatric dietitian and children's nutritionist. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Now, I don't know about you, but I do find these calorie counts on the back of sandwiches or crisps or chocolate or whatever else completely confusing because I have no idea what a calorie is, and I don't think most people do either.
No, correct. I mean, I don't really read calories either. So they're there for information for those who need it. But it's just a figure at the end of the day, isn't it?
It certainly is. So just in terms of, we've tried all sorts of things, and there is no doubt we have an obesity epidemic in this country. We know people are getting fatter and fatter, and we need people, desperately need people, to take the burden off the NHS by making positive choices in terms of their nutrition. Now, clearly, part of that is going to be about the labelling of foods. So we've talked a great deal about the traffic light system, red, amber, and green, but I quite like this idea.
Well, it would need to be trial somehow. I just have some reservations because I think that it's going to work out for there'll be three different types of people. One group who will look at that information and think, oh, this is really educational. I quite value this. Great. I'll make sure I fit in an hour of walk today or something like that. There's another group who are just not going to be interested in that information, and perhaps they actually need that information and it is important for them, but it's not really, engaging enough for them. And then there's that third group that I worry about, the vulnerable group, like our adolescents, those who really, do need the calories. And perhaps that sausage roll is the only sausage roll they're going to eat in the day. And then they're also starting to stress about the exercise activity that's associated with that sausage roll, because of course calories is, it's only just one snapshot of what you need. It sort of, I worry that it devalues food to just that, just calories, when in fact we don't eat counting our calories in the day, or hopefully that's not what we're doing. You want to think about food as nutrition, nourishing your body. So yes, I think it could be trial on high sugar, high fat foods, but I think perhaps there also needs to be opportunity with QR codes for educational content that people can go and look up. So not just looking at it and thinking, my God, I've got to do an hour swimming or 2 hours of swimming, or just something more about portion sizes, or just more education needs to go with that, I think, so it doesn't overwhelm people.
I agree with you about education. Let's go back to that in a minute. But in terms of the government introducing calories on menus in restaurants, I have a major problem with this. It's the one time I'm out of the house, I'm enjoying myself. I do not want to know that my steak and kidney pie is 1,000 calories.
Agreed. I absolutely agree. I want to be able to go out to a restaurant and be able to enjoy that meal and not think about calories. But I guess for everyday foods like sandwiches and just, it can help you make a better choice between brands. So I do like that you can look at you want to have a sandwich, but then you can see, oh, this particular whole grain sandwich is actually less calories, less fat. It's got more portions of vegetables in it. So you just want a bit more information than just calories. And there's a lot of focus on calories, but I still worry that when you're just equating that to exercise, it's still not giving you the full picture. And I really worry about that vulnerable group of people where they need more information and it's just going to cause a bit of anxiety. So I think we just need to think a little bit more about how are we going to manage that group.
I agree totally, and I think you're right in terms of education. We need people to be educated about how we have a nutritious, wholesome diet. Also, with the cost of living, we're going to have to explain to people how they can prepare meals that don't cost a great deal of money. For example, using a microwave instead of using a conventional oven, which would cut down your electricity bill and so on. So it is becoming more complicated. However, what I think is really interesting is when you look at this study, it did very well amongst young people, and we were really only applying this in terms of the exercise to those snack foods, so to the treat foods, the chocolate bars, the crisps, that kind of thing. So would you welcome it if it was ring fenced, if there was a particular place for this using this system, for example, only on snack foods?
Absolutely. Yes. I think, again, it could be really interesting. We just need to remember that, young people, teenagers, they have lots and lots of energy. They have high energy requirements. So one chocolate bar at the end of the day isn't going to break the calorie bank, if you like. So again, it just needs to be put in context. But yes, I mean, absolutely. We don't want them to be just having chocolate bars or packet of crisps for their snacks. We do want to make sure they're getting other nutritious foods like fruit and perhaps nuts and things like that. So it could certainly be, really successful, but it would be great to see something else going with it. But I don't really know what that needs to be, but it just needs to have more education for the public, definitely.
I mean, just in terms of your day job, you're a pediatric dietitian, so obviously it's a bit different talking to children, and they have high calorie needs, they have high metabolic needs anyway. But just in terms of the public and public nutrition, where are we going wrong? I mean, clearly cookery programs, everyone's obsessed by cookery programs, and yet the number of people actually cooking seems to be falling off a cliff. The fact is, a lot of people are reaching for high convenience fast foods, high in calories, really low nutritional value. And of course, sometimes that is also a cost factor because some of those cheaper foods are the most unhealthy.
Absolutely. And we're living this life where we want convenience, we want everything fast, we want to pack in as much as we can during the day. And so cooking a nutritious meal can sometimes feel like it's going to take you a long time if you don't do it regularly enough. Once you get into the habit of cooking, quite often, you can find actually you can cook a really decent meal in 30 minutes and it doesn't cost you the world either. So I think yes, there's loads of lovely cooking shows and baking shows, and it makes you excited about let's bake a cake this weekend and things like that. And that's wonderful. Like that's nice to do that as well. It's just skills that you can pass on to your children, but there needs to be more emphasis on cooking nutritious meals, not just extravagant hotel, like 5-star Michelin star restaurant type meals. Just everyday foods that's practical, easy and isn't going to take too much time and cost too much money today as well.
And can I just ask you finally, if I may, how much of a grasp do children have about food, about nutrition, about cooking? Are they well prepared or not?
Oh, it's a good question. Well, I'm very pleased to say that my daughter's school is having Nutrition Month, and I'm going in next week to talk about nutrition to school. We talk about nutrition at home all the time, but we do it in a way that is meaningful to the child. So, for example, my daughter wears glasses, so I might say, "Oh, don't forget to eat these orange colored foods because it's got vitamin A, which is going to help you see in the night." So, you just want to try and give nutrition messages to children in a way that's going to be meaningful to them. It's going to help you run faster. It's going to, make you when you're playing your gymnastics, it's going to, you're going to be able to do that move or whatever. So it just needs to be changed. But I believe, and I definitely talk about nutrition with my children and why it's important to eat certain foods and why certain foods we might not eat every day, but we absolutely can still enjoy.
Yes, absolutely. Well said. Thank you very much indeed for joining me. That's Bahi Vanderboer, who's a paediatric dietitian and clinician's children's nutritionist.